Mitchell, and I'm going to be talking about the Paleolithic diet. Did you ever wonder how humans could possibly survive 40,000 years ago without McDonald's, Chipotle, or local grocery stores providing easy access to food? Back then, humans had to rely on hunting, gathering, and only consuming foods within a given area and season. Today's society questions what it truly means to be healthy and what foods humans are naturally supposed to consume. The Paleolithic diet is based on types of foods eaten by prehistoric humans, relying on whole foods such as meat, fish, vegetables, and fruit, while eliminating grains and dairy. To gain an understanding of the caveman diet, one must take a look at what paleo is, what the diet consists of, and of course, the pros and cons of the paleo diet. During a 5-week study, Ryberg took 10 women with a BMI over 27, and they all experienced weight loss, a deduction of liver fat by 49%, decrease in blood sugar, blood pressure, and insulin by 19%, and a significant decrease in cholesterol by practicing the paleo diet alone. What is paleo? When people say Paleolithic or caveman diet, the author of Food in the Stone Age says they refer back to a time before farmers first appeared, a time when consequently there was no grain, no milk products, and no processed food. The reason why modern paleos do not eat grain or dairy is because those foods were not readily available. The point of the diet is to assume that because industry and farming, the human race knew what to eat naturally. Much like a cow knows how to graze and a lion knows how to hunt, it is difficult for a modern-day person to know what to eat because so many man-made alternatives are readily available. This is exactly why society today has so many diet options. Researchers are able to see what humans ate during the Stone Age and how long they lived as well. The Paleolithic diet hits rewind and brings the kitchen back to its roots. According to UPMC HealthBeat, the foods one is to consume on this diet include lean meat such as chicken, turkey, pork, lean beef, and buffalo, fish, seafood, fresh fruit, non-starchy vegetables such as lettuce, asparagus, green beans, broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and spinach, nuts, seeds, eggs, and plant-based oils. The foods that are restricted include grains, starchy vegetables such as potatoes and corn, legumes or beans, dairy, high-fat or high-processed meats, sugars, processed foods or trans fats, and of course salty foods. As one can conclude by reading the list, the foods that are allowed are whole foods, and the foods that are not allowed are found or considered junk foods. As John Durant, the Paleo Manifesto of Ancient Wisdom for Long Life Health, says, eating a Paleolithic diet is not about historical reenactment. It's about mimicking the effect of such a diet on the metabolism with foods available by the supermarket. The paleo diet does not restrict portions or calories, but it encourages exercise to be a true paleo. All foods you need for the paleo diet will be located either in the deli or the produce section, completely avoiding the winding aisles of the grocery store. On that note, the pros and cons of this caveman lifestyle can now be discussed. Pros and cons. Like most diets, the paleo diet has benefits and downsides. The diet, due to the guidelines, make you avoid chemicals, preservatives, and processed foods. The founder of the paleo movement, Dr. Corden, states that the diet consists of higher protein, lower carbohydrate and glycemic index, high fiber intake, higher potassium and lower sodium, and it also includes much higher vitamin and mineral consumption. The positives include fat loss, lower blood pressure, lower blood sugar. The paleo diet is also a diet that you can maintain without calorie counting. Mark Sisson, the Primal Blueprint 21-Day Total Transformation, says, our genes still expect us to eat a higher fat diet. They still see agricultural foods and modern foods such as sugar as poisons. They still see lack of sunlight and exercise as problematic. We haven't genetically adapted to modern life because there's no selection pressure in the civilized world. The negatives of the paleo diet include the extensive cost of purchasing local and organic food, the difficulty of cutting out food groups most have consumed their entire lives, and the possibility of becoming deficient in calcium without dairy or lower energy levels due to lack of grain consumption. Athletes specifically need to be careful with the paleo diet because their intense exercise requires 6 grams of carbs per pound to sustain energy. Athletes must consume enough fruits and vegetables to reach this, and it is much more difficult without rice or bread to eat. But for the average person, especially an overweight person, the carb intake is not much of a concern due to excess body fat and lack of exercise. In conclusion, there are many diets today and many facts and opinions on what the natural human diet needs to be. The Paleolithic diet is simply a version of eating that attempts to take prehistoric consumption into consideration. Many researchers do not support the paleo diet, mainly due to the removal of most carbs and all dairy. On the other hand, many researchers support the diet due to the whole foods approach and ability to maintain the diet if done correctly. To gain an understanding of this caveman diet, one must take a look at what paleo is, what the diet consists of, and the pros and cons. Food is important to all living things and how it is consumed as well. It is up to everyone to discover what they believe is optimal diet. Paleo is what the cavemen came up with.